What makes an ideal client? When I first started coaching, I would take tons of people and I built it up 20, 30 coaching clients a week. And I remember talking to a coach and watching a lot of YouTube content. And the first thing that he said was, "Hey, you want to divide your group into these four quadrants." I'm thinking, all right. The number one most ideal was the one that was paying you the most and doing all the things that you asked and really not reaching out that much, just doing exactly what you're saying and kind of giving the least problems. I'm like, okay, I got a bunch of those. That's awesome. And then the worst one was the one that was paying the least and constantly, taking up your time. I'm like, oh, okay. And one of his advice was eliminate those and try to get more of the other ones. And then the other two quadrants were kind of a mix of that, right? And that's a great idea. So literally that next week, I dropped kind of the ones that were in the lower and I really started targeting that. Oh my gosh, it completely changed my love for coaching, right? And it's a better fit for them. If it wasn't working out for them, they would want to be with someone else, right? That was a better match. So I thought, this is perfect. So I did that. And then I started thinking about it. What makes those ideal for those I'm coaching for their particular clients? We're going to focus on real estate in particular, but this will carry over into pretty much all of sales. Okay, so the very first thing that I noticed when we're getting in leads, whether organic, whether paid, whatever, is I wanted to find out what their motivation level was. This was very important, right? Because we've had some clients, and you'll know this. Have you ever had a client that you've been showing homes from for a ridiculously long time? Yeah, it starts with the first week, then to two, then three, then four. Now you're on months, and I'm thinking, you know what? They probably didn't. They're probably not as motivated as you thought, right? Because if you're working with motivated clients, not just browsing, they're serious about finding that home, selling the home, or whatever it is they need to do, right, to get to the next level. So we want to make sure that motivation is there. So those are very important questions that you want to be asking, right? They want to they want to have a reason to act. So it could be a job relocation. Oh, by what time do you need to be into that next home? Growing family, got a baby on the way. Great. These are great questions that you want to be asking. Uh, Financial timings, rates, right? Equity, etc. Deadline driven, leases ending, school year, etc. They're not just thinking about it, they're ready to move forward. So in those conversations, when you're initially talking with them, or we're gathering that before we're going to go out, show them homes, meet with them, or whatever, find out their motivation, right? And then I like to put them into different categories. So someone that is highly motivated, right, might be an S tier, A tier. If someone is very lowly, it doesn't mean I'm not going to try to work with them. I'm just not going to prioritize them, right? Certain things need to happen because I don't want to go out and just show homes to show homes, right? Or list a property that is crazy high. They're not really motivated to sell. Okay, kind of waste everyone's time, and then we have a bad experience result. So make sure you're doing a proper job to put them and maybe potentially categorize them by the higher motivated, maybe S tier, A tier, and then obviously lower, like a C or D tier. Understand that, get better at asking the right questions, make it flow naturally. And as you're doing that, it's gonna help save you so much time that yeah, I didn't learn that right away. It took me a little time to understand that because I just believed whatever they said. Oh yeah, I want to get a home. Okay, well, you got to ask the right questions to find that out to really discover their particular motivation levels, right? And obviously, the higher, the better for us. Okay, next one. During that discovery, right, we also want to ask if they're financially qualified, right? Have they gotten a pre-approval? This is important, understanding their budget. Some people, if you notice, they want to look at things they cannot afford. Okay, that wastes our time, right? But sometimes they want to, so we have to have those conversations. We've got to be realistic about that. We don't want them, chasing ghosts, right? We want deals that can actually close. So we need to have those conversations. We need to be able to recommend, especially too, like if they're coming in off, this is in particular for like a YouTube type lead where someone sees your stuff. the first thing you want to do is have them meet with a lender, right? Then it's going to help get them pre-qualified, goes over it, understands if they're moving here, right? Those are the steps and conversations that we want to have. So someone that's motivated, great, but we got to make sure they're financially qualified is the next step. Okay. All right. Number three, they trust you. It's so difficult if you're working with someone that does not trust you. They're asking other people for advice. They're not taking you seriously. They're constantly second guessing. You can raise your hand. You've worked with some of these people, right? Okay, you've got to build that trust. And I'm going to tell you, their level of, to me, goes up when they're just like, hey, we trust you. Just whatever you say, we're going to do. That's what I'm looking for, right? That helps me find those ideal clients. So there's little tests that we do, right? We want to make sure that they're respecting, right, our expertise. Um, and usually these kind of clients are saying, well, Frank, what do you think we should do? Okay, they're going to go up. That's what we're looking for. And you find these indicators when you're having those conversations. You should be getting that kind of feedback because they're going to be difficult, right? Difficult clients are not always going to do the things that you're asking them to do, right? With the different timelines. They have their own ideas. They're going to someone else. Okay, these are red flags that sometimes when we don't have clients, so we're just taking whatever. I get that. But as we're moving them up and upgrading, we want to get ideally, these are the clients we're going to search for because these are the ones that are not going to waste us time and effort. Nothing is worse than when you spend tons of time with the client and we're not resulting in anything productive, right? Because of the following reasons. So make sure that you're seeing that and then look for those red flags, work with the ones that are doing that, and potentially, let's say we're putting out content, we're going to find more people that trust us, right? If someone's coming to me from coaching after watching this channel, which by the way, like, subscribe, get in my coaching, whether it's free or paid, and please comment below if these are helpful for you, or if you've ever had clients that are difficult, right? And what's the main reason and how you adjust it and fix that. If they're coming from sources where we're creating value and we're giving that, they're going to more likely trust us. So this is why you want to start a YouTube channel. This is why you want to be doing more social media. This is why you want to be doing webinars or these kind of things, right? Because then you're more perceived as the expert. They're more going to not second guess you. Okay. Next thing is number four. They communicate clearly. Oh, this can be frustrating too. We send a text or message, they don't respond. Okay, we show up on time, they're not there. Right? We need to get that honest feedback, right, on particular things. That doesn't always come. But then when they want us there, they're all over us, right? If we're not. Okay. There has to be open and clear communication. There should not be second guessing. We don't want to chase them for days. And if that's the case, then you gotta upgrade. This is why the 10 conversations, real estate conversations, sales conversations per day are so important because we have to be adding to the pool and upgrading. Okay, this is what we have to do, or you're going to be stuck with these really difficult clients that waste a lot of time, and you're not going to be producing results. So when we see these red flags and those go up, this is where I have been telling you to hit. You have to be doing these things so we get more and more people so that we can filter through, sort through, right, these non-ideal clients to work with our more ideal clients. Okay. Here's another thing. They match your niche, right? Whatever niche you have. Maybe it's first-time buyers. Maybe it's luxury sellers, investors, relocation specialists. The clearer your niche is, the easier it is for you to market, right? Your focus. Now, some people say, Frank, I'm just taking whatever I can get. I get that. Sometimes we have to do that, but you should start to find an ideal niche that you're doing really well with, or that is your strength. And if you focus more on that and you're advertising and the things we're doing for that, it's easier to get those in so that you can match that. Okay. If they're aligning with what you want to do, it makes it easier. Okay. Because those approaches are different. A luxury seller is very different than, right, a first-time buyer. Okay. Or relocation. So get clarity on that, get your branding on that, and then really move to dominate that space and then find those ideal ones that are matching you. Okay. Here's another ideal client. They generate repeat and referral business. Don't you love this? Isn't what it's all about? You get a client and they're just serving up referrals because you did an outstanding job to them. They love the experience. They refer family and friends. They come back when it's time again. This is the dream. But how do we get that? We have to absolutely do a great job. We have to keep following up, right? Helping meet their needs too. But that's what we're trying to get these amazing experiences so that happens over and over again, right? One ideal client can be multiple future deals. Okay. And then we have to focus a little bit on the retention, to make sure once we have that, they could be that, but we don't do client appreciation events. We don't have a Facebook group where they can go. We don't have a YouTube video where they're watching and they're seeing our content. We don't call or do anything for their birthday, right? We don't invite them to things. We're not looking to help them. We got what we wanted and we don't even care anymore, right? Well, you may have that in all of your clients, or at least the potential for that. But if we're not doing your part, probably not happening as often as you want it to. And in fact, they'll probably go to someone else if you're not careful and you don't do your part. Okay. Next, 7, they respect your time and process. Oh, this is so frustrating, right? Like, don't waste weekends on maybe showings. Follow your systems, right? The consults, the pre-qualifications, etc. Those are very important. You've got to value your time and effort. These clients treat you like a professional, not a door opener. And here's another thing. If you always answer your phone, you're always on call. I always hear this, agents, answer your phone, answer your phone. I'm going to tell you no. You heard it right here. You set up whatever boundaries you want, and you set up the system so that if it's after 8 o'clock, unless it's an emergency, you get back to them by 9 the next morning or 12. Okay, if they call at 7 a.m., you're going to get back and respond to them by, let's say, 1 o'clock. Once they understand that, now you're taking control of that situation because we're going to respect their boundaries, right? We're not going to necessarily message them past like 8 or 9 o'clock normally. And at the beginning, if you establish that, they're going to respect that. If you do not, and you're like, hey, I answer my phone anytime. Okay, then expect to get calls anytime. Right? So if you want to be treated professionally, you have to establish that. A lot of times at the beginning. Follow whatever the way you define it, that's fine. You've got to respect that time. And you respect theirs. You ask them, here's the preferences. You explain that. Hey, here's how I work because I'm working with a lot of different clients. Right? When I'm with that client, I cannot answer the phone for you, but this is what I do. This is the system I have set up. This will save you a lot of time. Okay, this will save you a lot of frustration, and this they will absolutely respect it once they understand that. But if you tell them and teach them the other way, just call me whenever. I'll get right back to you. Okay, that's great. But then you're also, when you get a few different clients that are doing that, you don't get any freedoms then. You're not going to be treated professionally and respectfully of your time. So make sure you establish that, but you have to help train that up, right? You want to be professional, not just some door opener. Okay, so think about this. When you think about your ideal client, ask yourself questions. Who do I love working with? Who closes the fastest? Who refers me the most? Who causes you the least stress? That's your blueprint. Okay. So saying I work with buyers and sellers might be something like, hey, I help serious home buyers who are ready to make a move in the next 90 days. Okay. That's how you're helping to filter that out. Find those avatars, find those most ideal. And look, sometimes we have to do, I get it, but we want to be working towards that as a goal, to be working with our most ideal client. And here's the greatest thing. You're going to have an amazing experience. As soon as I made that change in coaching, it was heavenly. My life changed. It was so much better. And I enjoyed it more. And I know that's the same in sales and real estate. When you're working with your ideal clients and you've done all those steps, you qualify and you have the motivation, right? You're respecting the boundaries that you put to be professional. It just makes everything so much better. Okay. And we want to build up the things we need to be doing, right? Get those 10 conversations. And if you don't appointments, I'd lean more towards 20 to 25. Yet doing those things will allow you to filter more. When you just have one client, that's all you've got. Of course, you got to do it. But you want to build to a way where we're doing all of our social media, all this stuff where it's coming in and we're able to filter. And then everything will change for you once we do that. Okay? All right. We'll see you on the next one. Hopefully this helped. Talk to you soon. Take care.